Hi everyone. In this video, our learning goal is to be able to describe activities that are part of the scientific method. And here I wanted to highlight one of my favorite scientists, Linus Pauling. Not only did he win the Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1954, and basically he was the founder of one of the founders of quantum chemistry and molecular biology, but he also won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1962. And in this course, we will learn about a topic called electronegativity. And he was one of the scientists who helped develop a better understanding of electronegativity. And we will use what we call the Linus Pauling scale to understand relative electronegativities for different elements on the periodic table. And so by the end of this video, we will discuss the scientific method, and from here on out, we will utilize the scientific method to begin thinking like a scientist, just like Linus Pauling. So what is the scientific method? Well, it's a set of general principles that helps to describe how a scientist thinks. But I would argue that you all use the scientific method every day to problem solve. So first, you want to make observations about nature and ask questions about what you observe. And after making those observations, you will propose a hypothesis, which is an educated guess. And that educated guess helps us to state a possible explanation for the observations you have made. And then you will design several experiments in order to test your hypothesis. And when the results of those experiments are analyzed, a conclusion is made as to whether the hypothesis may be true or false. So let's go through an example that maybe you would come across in your everyday life, which actually happened to me when I was in second grade. So suppose you visit a friend in her home, and soon after you arrive, you begin to sneeze. And you observe that your friend has a new cat. You ask yourself, why are you sneezing? And form a hypothesis that you may possibly be allergic to cats. You perform experiments to test your hypothesis by visiting other friends with cats. And if you sneeze after leaving the other homes with cats, you come to the conclusion that your hypothesis is correct. And as I alluded to earlier, I did have this situation happen in second grade when I visited one of my friends who had a cat, and I had never been around cats before. And soon, through the scientific method and talking with my mom, we discovered that I have an allergy to cats. Now, I love cats still, so I take allergy medicine so I can have cats, but it's just really interesting that the scientific method is not only in the laboratory, you're using the scientific method every day to solve problems around you. So coming back to the situation, it's through your observations, you may determine that you're allergic to cat hair and dander. I really want to emphasize here that the scientific method isn't linear, although sometimes it appears that way. It can be cyclical, meaning that more often than not, the hypothesis needs to be modified if the results of the experiments do not support it. Okay, so in the case of assuming you're allergic to cats, you may go to another friend's house and discover, wait a second, I'm not sneezing with their cat. And so then you may start thinking about, well, is it a specific type of cat you're allergic to? Or you may discover that it's not the cat at all that you're allergic to. Maybe you have a different kind of allergy. And so once again, when we are running the scientific method to solve a problem, whether it's through an experiment or a personal life situation, Oftentimes you will have to rerun, revise your hypothesis, develop new experiments, always taking in observations and develop a final conclusion in the end. So let's pause right here and check to see if we have a good understanding of what is an observation, a hypothesis, an experiment, or a conclusion. Now's the time to pause your video and answer this on your own first, and then play again to check your work with me. All right, part A. During your visit to the gym, your trainer records that you ran for 25 minutes on the treadmill. So this is an observation. A lot of times with observations we will see in this class involve measurements. And so when you hear the word record and some data being recorded, like 25 minutes, then this is a great example of an observation. Part B, scientific studies show that exercising lowers blood pressure. This is a conclusion. Now, what were the clues that led to our conclusion that this statement is a conclusion? Well, as you can see here, it says scientific studies. So it sounds like many experiments were done. And that there's kind of a statement being made here, right? Exercise lowers blood pressure. That sounds like a conclusive statement, and it's supported by evidence and different scientific studies. So this is a conclusion. Now, part C, your doctor thinks that your weight loss is due to increased exercise. This statement is a hypothesis, an educated guess. And there's a clue in there to let us know that this isn't a conclusion, but rather an educated guess. And that is the word thinks. Your doctor thinks, or you could have said your doctor suspects that your weight loss is due to increased exercise. Thank you for watching, and as always, email me with any questions.